scope of the investigation into allegations leveled against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is expected to be wide-ranging. The New York Times reports the independent team hired by the state's Attorney General Letitia James will have far-reaching subpoena powers to request documents and compel witnesses, including the governor, to testify under oath. The probe may also scrutinize not just the two sexual harassment claims made by former female employees, but any other potential allegations as well. The governor has acknowledged that some of the things he said may have been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation and apologized, but denies ever inappropriately touching anyone. And more Democratic lawmakers are coming out in support of the independent investigation into these growing number of allegations made against Governor Cuomo.
These allegations are very serious against Governor Cuomo, made by serious individuals, and deserve a serious and independent investigation.
I associate myself with the gentleman's remarks.
I know the Attorney General will conduct a thorough investigation that will be totally independent, without any interference, outside interference, political or otherwise.
I can certainly speak on behalf of the president and the vice president, and so let me reiterate that they both believe that every woman coming forward should be heard, should be treated with dignity and treated with respect.
In a statement, New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand said in part, quote, "The behavior described in these allegations against Governor Cuomo is completely unacceptable, and every allegation of sexual harassment must be taken seriously and be reviewed." Meanwhile, 6 New York State legislators said yesterday that Cuomo should resign following a third woman's allegation of unwanted advances. Cuomo's office has not commented on the latest accusation. Protesters also held a rally outside the governor's Manhattan office as pressure mounts for him to resign.
So Claire McCaskill, a very interesting op-ed by Michelle Goldberg in the New York Times this morning, saying that she suspects that Andrew Cuomo will survive this, in part because Democrats are still angry that Al Franken got pushed out, and they've taken the attitude that we don't need to Franken Cuomo, saying why is it that Democrats always react this way while you had Donald Trump in the White House with 21 claims of sexual harassment against him,
including one of rape.
And Republicans never once demanded investigations into Donald Trump. It was an interesting take, and talked about, we had Kristen Gillibrand's name there. Michelle Goldberg talks about anger towards Kristen Gillibrand, actually, for taking the lead in pushing Al Franken out of the United States Senate.
Well, first of all, I mean, the prosecutor in me wants to point out that the facts and circumstances around both cases are much different. And let me just say some obvious truths here. This is the governor of New York who had a woman young enough to be his daughter in his office, the two of them alone. And he asked her if she had sex with older men. And then he had the nerve to say he was apologizing if his comments had been misinterpreted as flirtation. Well, I got news for you. If you have a position of power over a young woman, a very young woman compared to your age, and you ask her if she has sex with older men, you ought to be man enough to say you did something terribly wrong. Not, I'm sorry if it was misinterpreted. He should have said, hey, my life is I don't know if his personal life is a mess, but if he'd been honest and just said, I did things I shouldn't have done, and it is terrible I did them, and I will do better. And I ask for forgiveness from the women that I have abused by sexually harassing them with the things I've talked to them about and my actions. But instead, if it's been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation, I mean, I'm like, it's infuriating. That wasn't an apology. That was a rationalization. So, just to everybody out there, if you are old enough to be a woman's daughter and you're her boss, don't ask her if she likes to have sex with older women. It's not complicated. Older
No,
men, I mean.
it's so. I think you nailed it. What's upsetting here is not just the alleged story of what happened, but the apology. And the apology appears to have actually caused a firestorm, and then a second and a third allegation. So the problems continue, I think, because of the rationalization or even shaping the behavior to be something that it isn't. Sometimes you've just really messed up. Sometimes your behavior is just inappropriate and you just need to say it. It's pretty easy. And it'd be interesting to see how bad the reaction would be if he actually said, this is what I did and it was really bad and I'm really sorry. We'll have to wait to see how the investigation bears out. These are allegations at this point, but there certainly are now, starting with 1, 2, now 3, backed up by a picture. So it's a tough situation. Coming up, President Biden doesn't just have to tackle a pandemic. He also has to manage Americans' expectations for when the coronavirus crisis will end. The AP's Jonathan Lemire joins us with his latest reporting. Morning, Joe. We'll be right back.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.